Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. We are continuing our previews for the IPL season 2021. Today we will be talking about KKR. Gorbo, Lorbo, Jeetbo. Shah Rukh Khan's team is looking good this time around. Musti and me doing the analysis for this one is as usual. Musti, your thoughts on KKR? Some good buys in the IPL auction, I thought.
Yeah, some good buys and some young players that they invested in 2-3 years ago. Now we'll probably see the fruits bearing. The likes of Murphy and Nagarkoti, SHUBMAN GILL. They're all from the 2018 India Under-19 batch. So these guys are now maturing. So it'll be interesting to see how they play. It does take time after that Under-19 World Cup. So I think this is the time where we probably see if that investment was worth it or not. And apart from that, some really good buys in Ben Cutting. They've got some backup. Harbhajan Singh backup. Karun Nair is a good buy as well. So they've got some backup options. KKR as a team, they don't have one star, but like if they have some really good T20 players, but they need to perform. If they're not in form, it becomes an easy team to beat. And I think last season, despite the coming fifth, I think it was a poor season because there were 2-3 games they were lucky. I can remember from the top of my head against Punjab, one game Punjab bottled it, and against Sunrisers as well. It went till the end. Sunrisers could have won that, but it went to a super over, I think. So Ferguson bailed them out. So they have some really good utility T20 players, some big players as well, Morgan, Andre Russell. But at the same time, I think what I'm a bit worried about is their top order. It doesn't have that firepower, but they can still make up for it if their main players fire.
I agree. I think it's a solid unit. They always, somewhat under the radar per se, because we always talk about the likes of Mumbai, the likes of CSK and Delhi now. Sunrisers have been consistent. So they've been a little bit under the radar, although they have 2 championships as well. They are a good side. They were coached by Trevor Bayliss very, very well when they actually won that under Gautam Gambhir's captaincy. That was very, very good. Trevor Bayliss now, of course, is Sunrisers, and he's hopefully looking forward to the same thing with Sunrisers. But that's a biased opinion. But yeah, I think like you said, the likes of I think the investment that KKR has done in the youngsters is the long term. They are looking at the likes of GILL, Nagarkoti, Mavi, like you said, very, very good talented players. And I think 2 of them make my top 11 already, so that shows that their investment is worthy. I think apart from KKR, there's not many teams that look at it like that, I think, and which I thought was very interesting because I think KKR is trying to build a core that they can look for the next 8-10 years that Mumbai did, they invested in Hardik Pandya, Krunal Pandya, and they invested in now the rewards are being, you can see them reaping the rewards now. So after 5-6 years, even the likes of Delhi are doing that to an extent, the likes of Rishabh Pant, Shreyas Iyer, these guys they put in that investment a few years ago.
And now they're blooming, right? Iyer
exactly.
And Pant, but it took a good 3 years. So I think with KKR, same thing. This is going to be the 3rd year. So I think the only issue is that there's a big auction coming up. So ideally, they want these guys to shine this IPL, but I would give them another year as well because you're looking at the long term for Delhi. It took that time as well. It took at least 3 years for Rishabh Pant to be where he is right now.
Yeah, but the thing is, even in the big auction, there'll be those few retentions that you're allowed, and then there's right to match cards, so they can use these on the youngsters.
Yes,
so people who want to keep their core it'll be important. A lot of strategies will be required as to how you want to keep and who you want to keep, depending on the age for the next 3 years and stuff like that as well. So I think the likes of Mavi, Nagarkoti, GILL will be retained, I think. And then they will also try to right to match in terms of the Morgans and the Cummins of the world, So that's kind of the way they'll probably go about it. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I think that this is a good side. And I think the couple of buys that they got, some very good backups. The likes of Shakib, he's phenomenal T20 player. I think he's a very good addition in terms of the all-round capability. The likes of Ben Cutting, like you mentioned, I think he's very good as well. I can never forget the Ben Cutting of 2016, man. What a player. I mean, the way he won that finals for the Sunrisers was just amazing. So soft corner for him in my heart always.
It's a smart buy though, because we saw Russell was out of form and they didn't have a replacement. They had to play.
I agree.
And I think it gives Russell as well that competitive spirit in the sense that, man, listen, there's this guy there. If you don't play, you're out. And also they can learn from each other. They can discuss as well. So I think it's a smart buy in that sense.
I think I completely agree with you. Even for Narayan, who's kind of been a little bit, since that action issue, he's had a little bit of a problem kind of coming back in the team with the kind of effect or impact that he had before in the earlier seasons. So the likes of Shakib coming in gives him that kind of competitive feeling as well. So I think that they've done very, very well.
Yeah.
I think that they've done very, very well. So it's going to be interesting how this kind of pans out. In terms of the strengths and weaknesses, what do you think the KKR strengths and weaknesses are?
So for the weaknesses, I mentioned it a bit earlier, is the top order batting. I think they don't play at a quick rate. Like I think SHUBMAN Gill, he was very consistent. He was the top scorer, I think, last season, but his strike rate was 117. You need more. Like and with them, like if you're going to go Rana or Tripathi, they strike like 120, 130. So you need a bit more at the top, I think, firepower, because then what happens is, yes, Russell can make it up. He's hit 80 runs in 30 balls. He's like, he can, but the thing is, you can't rely on that, right? Because he can be out of form. There's one game he hits it, he's out. So I think in that case, they need one guy to go a bit big. So I'm a bit concerned about their top order, their top three, but then also their batting order. Like I don't want Morgan to bat too deep. I think he should come at 4 and then Russell should come after that. I think Russell's perfect is the last 5-6 overs. You don't need to promote him at like 1 down, 2 down, even though that's an idea as well. And their bowling, to be honest with you, I think Pat Cummins is not the bowler he is in Test cricket. He is expensive, so death bowling could be an issue with these youngsters. Prasidh Krishna, Nagarkoti, Mavi, and even Cummins to a certain extent. How they bowl at the death will be very important, but with the new ball, these guys can be lethal. And the spin, again, they have options this time, so I'm not as worried. I think Varun Chakravarti, that's their strength. Him, Narayan, if he plays, or even they have Bachi, they have Sakib. So I think the spin is their strength. Their middle order, lower order is the strength if they're in form, but the weakness will be that top order and the death bowling.
I think I completely agree with you over there. In terms of their top order, like you said, I think I agree. So I've made a couple of modifications in there on the basis of that. Sorry about that. I made a couple of modifications on the basis of how they can kind of counter that. But I think I agree with you that the department of pace, because of the youngsters that they have, but the likes of Prasidh Krishna have evolved, so that's going to help. Cummins, he had a very poor season for the price tag that he had. I thought he had a poor season, but I think he'll learn from that. I think he will understand now what is expected of him. So we'll see how that goes.
Comparatively to other teams, it's not that bad. Like if you look at it, it's a decent lineup. It's a really good lineup actually. It's just these things, it can catch up with them over a span of a season.
I think so. I think we'll see how it goes. Like I think, like you said, you nailed it very well. That their bowling could have an off day, and that could be an issue. And their top order, yes, for sure. But I think that the likes of their middle order, which is very good in terms of, they have one of the top captains in white ball cricket in terms of Morgan. Dinesh Karthik and Andrew Russell, if they get going, there's no better finishers than them in the world cricket right now. The likes of Bajupa and their spin department in general, with Varun Chakravarti coming in now and being very, very, very good last season. I think he'll take that experience and that belief in going into another season and hoping to perform well as well. So I think I agree with you. I think the strengths and weaknesses were caught on very well by you. Moving on, I have my ideal 11, and I think that we might have a little bit of a clash here, I think, but let's see how it goes. So for me, I like Tripathi. I think that he's a good backup, but I couldn't get him a space in my first 11 because I really needed to have like a good balance, and that was creating an issue for me. So for me, I went with Gill and Rana to open because I think Rana can up the ante, but if he doesn't, I don't think he wastes balls around. If he gets out, he gets out. He's like a hit out or get out kind of guy. In some ways, what's his name? Narayan, I think, in the top order. So and unfortunately for me, I couldn't get Narayan into my team because I had to bring in Shakib. So we'll talk about that. But I think, and because I want that stability in the top 3, and that's why I have Shakib at 3. So because I think Shakib's a very, very good batsman, I think a little underrated as well. So I have Gill, Rana, Shakib, Morgan at 4, Dinesh at 5, Russell at 6. I have Mavi at 7, who can chip in with the bat and is a good bowler as well. I have Cummins at 8. And then I finish off with Prasidh Krishna, Varun Chakravarti, and Bajupa as my extra bowler over there. And that can be chopped and changed if Nagarkoti wants to come in, depending on how the pitches are and stuff like that. But right now, that's my 11. Any changes according to you?
So the only thing I think it's a really good team in terms of you get like 2 or 3 spin options as well in that sense. I didn't have Sakib in my team, but I think they will get him in at some time or even in the first game. I think he will play a crucial role for them because it'll be conducive to spin as well as the pitches were on. But I think it's a bit batting light. That's why I'm playing Narayan at 7. And I'm going with Tripathi to open. That's the like only change I would have made. But I agree with you. I think maybe with your thing, like they can try it out. But the batting, I'm a bit worried about. If Mavi's at 7, can he finish off innings? Can Cummins contribute? I just feel with Narayan there, it just gives them a bit more confidence. But I think that's just a one player thing. Like they can go either or.
Fair enough. So you have Rana at 3.
I had Rana at 3, Morgan 4, Karthik 5, Russell 6, Narayan 7, Cummins 8, Mavi, Prasidh Krishna, and Varun Chakravarti. So I have 2 spinners. You and Nitish
I
Rana
have
to
3.
bowl the thing. So you
The
have
extra if needed.
yeah. But that's how I'm going. But I think I agree with you. Especially when the games go on, they probably get Sakib in. So in that sense, I think you have a good team as well. But if they do go with your team, I just want to see how Mavi performs. If he can play that all-rounder role, like the Thakur kind of role, then why not, right? Because it's a T20 game. You can't expect your number 7 to come and hit hundreds, but sometimes it's needed.
I agree.
When you're required. So that's why it's a bit of 50-50 for me. But apart from that, I think I have no complaints with your team. It's a very similar team. It's just Narayan and Sakib for
Sakib changes. Yeah, I think for me, the reason I went with Mavi and Cummins at 7 and 8 is because both of them can chip in with the bat a little bit, So that was the reason. And then Bajupa can come in and slog it around if needed. So that's kind of the reason I went. I mean, of course, that if it's required a couple of times, then it's fine. But if there's a problem with batting and losing too many wickets too early, then they might have to reconsider structuring the batting lineup as well. So, but I agree with you. I think for me, it's just the difference between Shakib and Rana, I think, at this point in time. And then you had Tripathi instead of Bajupa. So that's understandable as well. But yeah, your player to watch out for.
Andre Russell, man, it has to be Andre Russell. He's the match winner. Varun Chakravarti as well. He was the highest wicket taker in the last season, picked up 17 wickets, good economy as well, like 6.5. So he will be interesting to watch. But you saw, even though he performed last season, they came 5th. There's one man there who can change games. He can win games. What I saw in 2019, I've never seen anything like that in cricket, like T20 cricket. Like the positions from where Russell won games, whether it was against RCB, it was against even Sunrisers, Chennai. There was like so many games that in that season, 5 games, I've never seen it, like one man army. And with him, I think the likes of Morgan, Dinesh, Karthik, SHUBMAN, GILL, all these guys need to chip in. But he's one guy, if he's in form, he can carry the team and automatically lift the other players. You don't need to worry about anything else, both with bat and ball. They need him fully fit and in form. And I think in Indian pitches, it suits him more, to be very honest with you. The grounds are a bit smaller as well compared to Dubai. In Sharjah, he didn't perform, but I think those pitches maybe a bit, there's a bit more for the fast bowlers here. It'll be a bit slower. So I think he'll have time to hit it. So he'll be more in his comfort zone, but he needs to be fully fit. And yeah, let's see how he goes if he connects from ball 1.
I'm looking forward to it. But for me, I have an interesting guy as my player to watch out for. And that is Dinesh Karthik. I think, and the reason I say this, last season he was
because he's from Chennai.
No, but the last season he was captain for half the season. There was a lot of pressure. Then in the middle they changed it around with Morgan. So there was like it was like a chop and change season for him. So in my opinion, I think he focuses on his batting this time around. He doesn't have to worry about captaincy or anything because from day one it's Morgan. So he can focus on what is required of him. That is to come in and finish games at number 5 or 6, depending on what they decide to give him. And he has done that in the past for Indian cricket as well. And he's done that before as well, for Delhi when he was playing before that and everything. Yeah. I think the pressure of captaincy was taking a little bit too much on. He was taking a bit too much pressure on that. Yeah. And sometimes those players, when they get relieved of these opportunities or of these additional pressures, I think they perform. And I think it's going to be a big season for him. I think that's the reason I look forward to seeing him, because I think that he has immense capability. He's been unfortunate that Dhoni was the mantle for wicket keeping and batting in India for the past so many years, and that's why he didn't get his opportunity, because similar ages. But I think he's in the fag end of his career now. I think he has just a couple more seasons left in him. So I think I'm really looking forward to how he performs. I think he'll want to sign off with a bang. I'm not saying this is last season, but I think in a season or two, whenever he decides to hang his boots. I think he'll want to go off on a high, and he's that kind of guy. He's a nice guy. He deserves to go off on that high, and that's the reason I hope he does well, and that's why I look forward to seeing how he performs.
Yeah, and there's a good camaraderie in that thing. I was just watching a documentary before we recorded this last season in COVID times, how they all bonded. They made a movie together, like all of them having different roles, acting roles and stuff. So there's a lot of creativity there. I think what's his name, Abhishek Nair, I think he's one of the coaches. He like brings up these ideas, different things to because during the bubble, like it's very difficult, right? So they have things to distract their mind and everything. It's a very good unit. They have good support staff and everything. It's just they need some big players to perform. And like I said, there's one solution. Like before we end, for if the top order doesn't click, then there is Tim Seifert there. He's had an excellent season for New Zealand. They could try him up top, and he's an attacking batsman. They can try him for one of either Narayan or what's his name. Maybe Sakib. So I think they could try that. But yeah, apart from that, like I was saying, I think Dinesh Karthik as well. I've been seeing his commentary on Sky Sports. He's a very very calm guy, very well spoken, and I think he'll complement Morgan as well. And at the same time, no pressure, like you said. And for me, that was the correct decision. Morgan should be captain. He's a World Cup winner. He's a fantastic captain, aggressive guy, and he can be calm under pressure as well. So they have a really good leader. They have a good unit. It's just about the players stepping up, and that's it. Like which we didn't see last season, but hopefully they do for them.
And also, just a quick word before we end. Dinesh Karthik is actually a very good captain. It's just been unfortunate that the pressure and the stakes at the IPL are so high. You see him perform consistently against Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu won the recent
he was captain
season as well. He was captain for them. So he's actually a good player. He's actually a good captain. But I think that sometimes the stakes of the IPL become so high that you really need aggressive and calm captains, and sometimes you see him be a little bit unfortunate under pressure. It's not his fault. We've seen the likes of him and Russell not agree on the pitch as well back in the seasons before. So we've seen a little bit of with the lack of a better word, a little bit of unfortunate incidents that have happened in the past as well. So, those are the kind of things that Morgan will stamp his authority on. Yeah. And Dinesh Karthik was unfortunately not able to do that, but I think he's a fantastic leader as well. Yeah. But I think Morgan just nails it because he has a little bit more experience in that front, and he's won the World Cup as well, so that kind of helps. But I think they will be good support for each other. He's a good backup to have, and he will definitely contribute his ideas, especially from behind the stumps and stuff as well. So he's I'm looking forward to just what he contributes to the team in general, like along with just helping out the team and in terms of his batting as well.
Yeah, it's a special love for Dinesh Karthik. But yeah, I agree with you. And to be honest, just like to add to your point there, I think the reason why I'm saying about captaincy is even if you look at Sunrisers, Warner as captain, I'm not only talking about foreigners, like in Mumbai, it's Rohit. I think if your best captain is available, then you need to go for him. Sunrisers had Bhuvi before that because Williamson was injured, didn't play all games. So they had Bhuvi the season before that. But there's nothing against Bhuvi or anything like that. But, when you have a captaincy material there who's done it there, he's won the trophy, then give it to him. And I think Morgan's won a World Cup, Warner's won IPL, Rohit Sharma's won so many IPLs. So I think in terms of captaincy, those guys give it to them. And even if they don't perform, like, that they're capable, it's just that maybe something is going wrong, and they'll handle that pressure of losing as well because they've captained at the big stage. So yeah, and I think it'll bring the best of Dinesh Karthik. He had a fabulous season, that season when Russell went crazy with the bat. So yeah, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that wraps up KKR. Where are they finishing?
Ooh. I already have two teams in my top
I'm going to change. Even I realized that. I don't know.
I think we'll talk about the top. As of right now, no, they won't make my top four. But I will when we do our final commiseration of all the teams. That's when I'll probably make my top four prediction for sure. But as of right now, I think they won't finish top four.
They won't finish top four.
They will finish fifth. I think they'll just miss out.
Like last time.
Yeah,
I mean, there is issues there. It's just, but the thing is, with T20 cricket, if you have two players in form, and if it's like Morgan and Russell, they can win like 7-8 games. Yeah, it's over. So I just want to. It's very difficult to predict with this team. I'm tipping them for top four, but it could change, because they've been a consistent team, fourth, fifth. I think them and Sunrisers have been in and around the playoffs for the last 4 or 5 years. But a lot will depend on a few big players.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think this is going to be an interesting. This is always one of the teams that's hard to predict. Honestly,
Yeah.
they've kind of been a team that has a capability, but sometimes they've punched under their weight, and sometimes they've also punched above their weight when you don't expect them to. So they're a hard team to predict. As of right now, I'm saying not in my top 4, but we'll see how as we get closer, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. And just I forgot that they have Loki Ferguson as well, so they can try him out and for the death bowling and everything. So
of course they have good
options.
players and backup. Yeah,
they have good backup options. But I think that wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I mean, we joined each other, but I'll catch you for the next one. We've done half the reviews now, and then looking forward to the rest.
Yep. Take care.
Thank you.